Hey guys, Aggie K, Wealth Therapist. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways to remove your limiting beliefs and improve your money mindset. This is the same technique that I use with 6-figure earners. So let's get started. Step number 1 is to find the limiting beliefs, right? If we don't know what our limiting beliefs are, we certainly can't remove them. So step number 1 is asking the right questions so that your limiting beliefs can come to the surface. The first question you want to ask is, why can't I have what I want right now? Don't think about this too hard. Don't overanalyze it. Just stream of consciousness, write down what comes to mind when that question is asked. The second thing that you want to ask to allow those blocks to come to the surface is to prompt it with asking the question, what is the worst thing about having more money? Now, some people would laugh at that and say, that's silly. There's nothing bad about having lots of more money. But there can be things like, I won't have my privacy. My partner will quit their job. My parents will come asking for money. I'll have to pay back all my debts. So that's where a lot of the blocks can lie. So give yourself that time to answer the question, what could be the worst thing about having more money? Think about celebrities. They have lots of problems sometimes. Think about people who you admire and then think about, what would I not want about their life? In there lie your blocks. You can also keep drilling down that question. So for example, if you answered, the worst thing about having a lot of money is not having privacy, then you would ask, what's the worst thing about not having privacy? And the answer to that might be, that I can't, do what I want. What's the worst thing about not being able to do what you want? That I'm stuck at home and I can't be free to do things that are bad, that I think, people will know my bad habits. And what if I can't do my bad habits? Well, then I'll be upset. Keep drilling it down until you get to the core of what might be sitting there. Because the truth of that question might be, I don't really want people to see me for who I truly am. And so I'm afraid of making money because then they'll know who I really am. So you want to drill down to the core as much as you can. Keep asking that question until you get to the bottom of it. And that will be like a core belief. Step number 2 is, now that we've located what the beliefs are, we want to release them. Releasing the beliefs is probably the hardest part of this process because they're stored on many different levels. They can be stored on a physical level, on a mental level, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level even. So you want to take a look at all those different levels and look at how you can release them. So for example, on a physical level, you might need to do the opposite of what you normally do. And generally doing the opposite is a great way to interrupt a pattern. So for example, on a physical level, if this money story or the limiting belief that you've been having is there's never enough, you want to take an action that would defy that. If there's never enough, then you shouldn't invest in yourself. Then you shouldn't buy yourself flowers once a week. Then you shouldn't do something extravagant. So, and it doesn't mean you have to do just this. It depends on your limiting belief, but you want to act in opposition to that so that you interrupt the pattern. So that would be on a physical level. On an emotional level, you might need to write a goodbye letter to those old limiting beliefs, to let it go emotionally, to grieve, to cry, to release that on an emotional level so that your insides feel like they're done with that story and they can let go. So that's physical, emotional. On a mental level, tapping can be helpful. EFT tapping, or the emotional freedom technique, helps to interrupt the pattern of your thoughts so that you can change the thoughts you have around those old limiting beliefs. So those are some examples of ways of releasing. Step number 3 is to create new beliefs. So we've now located the blocks or limiting beliefs, we've released them, and the third step is going to be to create new ones. And the trick to creating new ones is to get evidence that supports them. So for example, if your old story was, there's never enough, or I never have enough money, the new story might be, oh my gosh, I always have more than I need. There's always more than I need. So what I would want you to do daily is keep a daily diary of how you always have more than you need, how there's always more water coming out of the tap, how there's always more food in the fridge, how there's always more gas in your car. Keep an evidence, keep a log of how there's always more than enough so that you start building evidence in your brain and a new neural pathway in your subconscious that says responds to the new story, which is, I always have more than I need. If you like this, subscribe to my channel and get more money-making content over at AgnesKowalski.com.